Good evening yet again, my friends, and welcome back to another B stream for the CS Summit 6. We are diving deep into the playoffs at this point. Of course, I'm joined by Vince yet again. That's always a damn pleasure, isn't it? And we've got G2 Esports versus Movistar Riders to begin the day. The pistol very much deep underway already, Vince. Look at this. They're already starting to take apartments. They're ruining our introduction. They're just taking control of the game like this is what's most important. So I suppose we'll just treat it that way, okay? A site underneath the feet of the T's, bomb planted backside. Hunter wastes no time. Immediately up on the retake from lane, traded back by eStore. Aminex got that frag back, but it's still the 2v2.
Bullet anywhere on the Glock, and he's a dead man. Alex taking some damage in the backside with the USPs, and now Nexa goes in first, leaving Amanek. And G2 actually conceded the first round in this best of three. A game, I think it's safe to say, Scrawny, most people expect G2 to fairly comfortably win.
Yes, I definitely fall in that camp. I think that, we've had some wild results so far in the CS Summit. Most notably is this trajectory from Godsent. They just recently beat NIP, like recently as in it just finished. And, G2 is also on that list of victims. So when we compare that to what the Riders have had to accomplish in order to get here, it's just that best of three win that they have over Fate. 2 losses versus North, and they've found themselves here in this lower bracket. So you'd think that G2 would have a lot of pent-up aggression and revenge for the losses that they've had to face lately versus Godsent and Fnatic, and I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of pent-up G2 aggression.
Some aggression, but it's going to be from Movistar Riders. They try and rip their way in towards the B site. Only Hunter is here now. 2 corpses ahead of him. His teammates laid to waste. And Steel and the gang are looking to push behind those smokes. Moffar's already on the site. Bomb drops, but can be retrieved easy enough. And Kenny taking some damage through the smoke. So G2 put themselves in position to maybe strike from ruins, but as far as the round goes, Scrawny, it's looking like it's going to be fairly comfortable in the end.
They're getting there. Still hoping that they dodge the shots that are just railing through the coffins. Jax versus Lowell. Well, that happens on the other side of the map. And that's just the insurance policy coming in here for the Riders. Sure, Hunter, he's going to take one, at least, in Mopaz. But damage versus Steel, who will have to leave the bomb site eventually. Right now, that cross is being held, but it looks like Hunter wants to go all the way back. Kenny S will take that responsibility. Hunter, he's more worried about Lowell coming back from behind and clearing out these last 2 CTs. But Steel, he seemed to have found his exit. And Lowell, you little snake, he's just sitting in the moto, waiting maybe to go for Hunter. Clear out that Kevlar. Clear G2. Take that second round. This is what we'd like. A nice, strong start from the Riders. You know, there's very little game tape to go back on in terms of this individual matchup, but they did play a best of 3 during the Road to Rio. Obviously, the previous Valve RMR event. And, that was a convincing win from G2, Vince. Inferno was played in that series, in fact, and Riders did a good job of at least getting to the double digits. But that series also included a 16-1 map win for G2 on Vertigo.
Indeed, it was a bit of a bloodbath, and then Inferno was 16-12, so a bit closer, sure.
Yeah, but 12,
yeah, not too bad at all, but still easy enough for G2. And if I remember correctly, there were rounds in that game where G2 should have probably pulled the trigger earlier and got that like 16-8, 16-9. So it may not necessarily paint the full picture of how the match went, but G2 now on the back foot on their CT side, losing the first 2 into a P250 and a Desert Eagle, and that's basically it. Now, they do have a bunch of players that are very capable with these guns, but Movistar would do well to mitigate all of these issues. They are going to be walking onto the stack. That's maybe one way back in for G2. Bit of damage inflicted to eStore with the Mac-10. He is going to look to try and pivot into a potential pick. He is expendable. They can always upgrade this weapon in the next round, no problems. But do they realize that there's more players sat behind that P250? Now they know, as Jax puts a bullet in the eyes of Steel. And Movistar not backing away. They're going to go for this story. They're going to push on the site.
Yeah, you're right there. The CT's everywhere. Mopaz, he's going to start figuring that out. In fact, Amanek, he had a nice little bit of trigger discipline. Kenny S comes out from the 3rd box. It's just layers upon layers upon layers on this A site. I feel like Riders are going to need a change of pants. They may have lost a few players, but 2 get through. So, sure, that's cost effective. undoubtedly cost-effective there for G2, and now we've got them in on the guns, Vince. So this could very well be, not to the shock of many, the turning point for the CT side.
Yeah, you have Kenny S with his trademark weapon, and the rest of the team filling in with M4. Still a Mac 10 on Lowell, who's not going to fully invest in the AK, treating this more of a bonus round. But the worrying part about that is that Esports, Steel, Mopoz, all not exactly ideal in terms of finances, but it does afford them that run and gun mentality where maybe Lowell can just charge straight in and look to claim some heads. They're moving on to B. 2 players here, Amanek and Kenny S. Kenny S watching from the CT side. The one and done position. Take a shot, fall back. Try and relocate with his teammate. They have incendiaries. And Amanek actually has one pulled out right now, waiting. But it's actually a Molotov from the T. They're looking to press in, but Kenny S, while Flash still rips out with the frag onto Mopoz. Flashes out from Amanek to stop the push from coming in, but already Steel's got a very good position on the tree, and it's going to go unchecked, and he will punish Nexa as a result. G2 still have the player advantage, but Movistar Riders at least making this a little bit more costly than they were probably hoping for. Good crossfire established now on the site, and it's only down to Alex, but he takes 2 heads with him, and it should be a post plant.
Ooh, this is one of those exciting moments here. Alex, he actually claws it back away from the complete and total shutdown. Alex goes ahead and takes that back bomb site position. Hunter, he's going to get closer. Jax has a Molotov and could flush him out of here. And that molly misses the mark. Instead, they're a little worried about construction, but Jax has got that headshot, and G2 on the board. Could have been way better for them. Could have been a huge overhead win after we saw Kenny going big with that 3K. But Alex, nice effort. Comes out from pit, deals with the new box, and then, of course, shuts down the sniper in Kenny S. But let's talk about that crossfire back to B bomb site. Nicely done. Kenny, he had the pressure on him with the coffin peaks. He gets the player off Banana despite having a second member right up in his face. And then it was that new box position to just give enough cover. It was patient enough, but aggressive enough at the same time. They got the info, they had lines of sight, but they also had the ability to hide. And if it wasn't for Alex with an attempted bit of heroics, that would have been 4 CTs surviving. So easy rebuy for G2, despite it including an ump, and Kenny S off to the races here in round 5. Immediately peeks down mid to kill Lowell.
I think Movistar Riders on the back foot instantly in the process, and I completely agree that aggression, that kind of balance, the moderation that you have to play on B, it makes it a very difficult site to hold. And I love that G2 had some aggression, but weren't overzealous on that aggression. And we see the same coming into fruition here. They get the first pick. They know they have the advantage. They're looking for information, but they're not going to try and take banana control. And they have Amanek in position with his UMP tailor-made for these angles, but Mopoz could hear the pitter-patter of footsteps, may not check the sandbags, and that will be to his detriment. And there's a second player in. Great haul from Amanek. 3 bullets left in the magazine. Meanwhile, though, Steel is opening up the A site, and this allows the bomb safe passage back through middle, but Hunter has it on lock. However, it will effectively come down to a 1v1 if Easter decides to push this.
Yep, 100 HP for each, but looks like Eastor may he may try to cut them off. Now, if Kenny S gets his scope up, I think Eastor's dead to rights. And there it is. He's offered the side of it. And that's all she wrote for round number 5. G2, opening pick early thanks to Kenny S. Nice little gunfight unfolds at the top of Banana because Nexa gets caught over top of the wall. But Amanek, man, king of the SMGs. Patiently sat behind sandbags. It was a dead giveaway, the first frag, seeing as he didn't go ahead and clear back behind sandbags, and the second frag. Well, that was the one that could have been the turning point. That's the one that could have opened the B bomb site, allowed the rest of Riders to move up with that bomb, maybe get another post plant, which we have seen. But effectively shut down, of course. So Riders gonna go ahead and just bully their way to the top of B. They meet Nexa back behind the sandbags yet again. Amanek, a further back position. His grenade, ooh, that could have done huge damage, but it misses the mark. And while he's throwing smoke, they decide to go for the double peek. Afforded to him because Hunter's so close to just plug up this hole. Lowell, his position is known, and he's been dealt with too. So as quick as they could, G2 Esports from their first gun round to the 3-3 tie.
a bad outcome, though, for Movistar. Taking 2 players down forces some replenishment to come into effect, and G2, they will be okay, of course. They'll be able to buy in the next round, but at least it does keep a couple of them honest. The likes of Nexa down to $200. Actually, he's not able to get full grenade. He's not able to get HE or an incendiary behind this, so minor, small victories, but as you highlight, very quick fire 3 rounds for G2 after conceding the pistol and the subsequent 2. Movistar will have full AKs, and again, Banana being aggressed upon. Kenny going aggressive behind the smoke, big grenade, and they're going to be boosting behind it too, and this is an off angle, not one that you're going to be expecting if you're Movistar, and Kenny gets even more effective, pick and falls back. Exquisite AWPing.
That's the old classic Kenny. But Alex, okay, he's going to find Amanek playing with his grenades, running around rampantly inside of the top of B. That could have been the 5v4 comfortably for G2. Instead, it's Kenny S with more responsibility on a single set of shoulders. He will still stay there alone, just looking to hold the line. And so far, so good from Kenny. You know, every time G2 walk into the server, you ask yourself, kind of like when Zywoo aced in the pistol round yesterday, Vince, it's like, oh, we're getting this version? Well, Kenny S, same type of player. And that's why he's over on B all alone. Jax, he's blasted Alex back with a frag grenade to take the man advantage. Hunter tucks in, side of the little pit, waiting for someone to drop downwards. And Nexa, he's just waiting for them to go for the cross, but they can't quite get out. Not comfortably. Not at all. No bomb plant, no kills even, as they walked into that site with a man advantage, technically.
Yeah, Jax hopping on the bike and riding past Movistar pretty comfortably in the end. A great crossfire, as you say. They just couldn't get anything done. It was slightly over the smokes. They couldn't even see him fully. Excellent work. And I completely agree. Like Kenny, for me, is kind of like the quintessential emotional kind of player where if he's not feeling it and if he's had a rough start, often he will fall off the map. But if he is feeling it, then my God, do you have probably... I think his skill ceiling's not that far off Simple. I think they're very similar players in terms of when they're firing all cylinders. That's how highly I rate Kenny S. And so, yeah, him showing up here, feeling confident, that's a worrying sign for Movistar.
I like that argument, Vince. I like that comparison. I can get behind you with it. We'll put your name on it so that I don't have to take any responsibility if it blows up. But I'll stand by your side, just one step back. Now Riders to the top of middle. Nice little tidbits of utility here. Off of the flash, they'll try, but wow. I mean, grenades in hand as Hunter just holds that peak. All too easy at first, and now they could line up. Oh, could they line up for him? He just goes ahead, sprays down 3, and takes the ace. Yeah, they weren't working with too much, but Hunter, that's nice.
Oh, he doesn't care, mate. He's loving it right now. Great spray down. Doesn't matter if they had full AKs or not. They had armor behind those pistols, so it still takes just as many bullets to deal with them. 10 kills, doubling his kill mark, and dropping off 110 ADR in the process. And that's really where G2, like, they're currently rated 3rd in the world on HLTV. They've been kind of up and down in the top 10, obviously. And I honestly feel like this change, Hunter and Nexa coming across G2 was such a massive win for this org. Such a huge win.
Yeah, it was the best roster move of 2019, I'd say. You know, the Stark of ends, really. G2, the success story that took over. And obviously, I think it's going to be hard to retain that #1 spot when you've got this wacky online world where burnout seems to be taking a place yet again. You know, we're almost at the player break. And G2, they've been prominent throughout every event in the last month. So a very real chance at rising through the ranks. And also chances at stubbing their toe and falling over hurdles like this gun round, where the 2 versus 4 was looking good for Riders. They had some early kills all across the map. Again, G2 just boding well in all of their gunfights. The utility looks good, but you can see these dead bodies at the base of B. Kind of scary quick, in fact, from Nexa. You know, just immediately establishing those kills. And making sure that Riders didn't have much footing from the get-go. But as we have gotten deeper in this round, Esports found a little bit of an opening, Vince. He's found a route through CT spawn where he'll face Hunter 1v1 in order to try and plant this bomb at B.
Hunter knows it, though. He's actually shoulder peeking. The call would have came through. The arches was open. Some smoke has been deployed, HE behind it, and now the players down Banana can come back to help him out. So at least they understood. Sure, Easter was able to get around the back of them, but from this position, stuck in ruins, 15 seconds to play with, this is looking very rough indeed, and he's going to get sprayed out from Hunter. If he survives, then fair enough, but it's not looking good for him. And indeed, he goes down. 2 kills in the round for Nexa, opening up on Banana. And the worrying thing here as well, Scrawny, is the 3 rounds, as we've already said, came off the back of the pistol. But these last 5 rounds have been without a bomb plant, first off, and collectively have only yielded 7 kills. 7 kills in 5 rounds, all rifle rounds. That is grim reading for Movistar Riders.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was nervous for Riders before this game ever started. You know, I kind of cracked a joke at you. Barely took a shower, Vince. Didn't know if I had to shave for this one. Figured we'd be in and out of the office real quick. Just like picking up a paycheck. But I don't know. Riders, it's because they've shown us good things versus North that I'm inclined to believe that there's an upset potential for maybe one of the maps in the series. Maybe one. You know, they showed me resilience, they showed me promise, they showed some nice strats, and I think that they've actually improved a lot on Vertigo. So that to me was like the big question mark, you know? And unfortunately today we don't get that. Of course, we're going to Nuke instead. So we'll have to buckle up for that one. But that's why I thought maybe they could do it. It was depending on the veto. When I saw today's veto process go down, and now that I've seen Kenny S for about 10 rounds of Counter-Strike, Vince, I think it's gotten more and more bleak as this game's gone on.
Yeah, it felt to me like it would have to hold that thought for a second, because we're actually going to have an all-out rush, and it should be a massacre. It should be a case of pillaging out the frags, but actually Alex comes back with 2 with the Tech 9. Not too shabby. The bomb's been dropped in an awkward position. Kenny now deagles Steel in midair, and Hunter will clean up the rest. But it feels to me like the keys to success and victory for Movistar Riders is more so G2 not showing up, or G2 having an off day, than them necessarily performing very well. That's kind of my concern. Is like the caveats all come down to, will Kenny S have an off day? Do we have the likes of Hunter and Nexus stepping up? Because if those are no, then yeah, I can see Movistar potentially taking this. But because they have started so well here, G2, even after a slow start, it's now 7 rounds in a row. I do worry because the economy is in such crazy shape. Hunter and Kenny S just under $13,000, so they're able to buy for at least 2 more rounds after this. And additionally, Scrawny, to put another nail in the coffin, as Kenny S is going to drill into Esports, this is Movistar Riders' choice of map. And it started this poorly for them.
Yeah. Again, unfortunately for Riders, kind of just negative talking points for them. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting with an open mind and big eyes. Waiting for the big chance. Waiting for that big multi-frag. Kind of like that one. Alex lines up the 2 kills. You know, he gave us a good showing in the 1 versus 4 on this B site. And we need to find the individual levels that may counteract some of these CTs. Alex seems to be the top contender for the time being. But Kenny S, off at the top of Coffins, just shuts down his hopes. Can Lowell be the difference maker? This is one of the names that we look to at the top of the scoreboard for Riders. When they're making upsets, when they're making big plays, it should be coming off of the hands of Lowell. And today, that is not the case. Not yet, anyways. You know, we're 10 rounds deep. He's 1v3. He's got the back of 2 CTs turned already. But Kenny S, oh, I can see him a little bit nervous here. He's scoped in, and Lowell, he gets 4-3'd. Kenny just peeks into it, and it could not have been easier.
There was a slight mistake that happened from Movistar there. They tried to throw an incendiary towards the back of Coffins to lock down the angle. One player bumped into the other, and it landed the wrong side of Coffins, which allowed Kenny S to perch up on there with York and get the first pick in that engagement. So it's an unfortunate turn of events. Obviously, these things do happen, but it could have ended up costing them the round. And that's 8 in a row. And I'd also like to point to your attention as well, Alex. He is balling out of control. He's having a great game. More than double anybody else on his team in terms of frags. Just shy of 100 ADR. Only 1 behind Hunter and Kenny, but no one's near him. Steel and Mopos on 5. Someone else has got to step up.
Smoke towards Art side. What are you going to do? Run through it? You got flashbangs for it. Kenny S, he's tucked back in library, and if he walks forward, then maybe you can find him mid-position. In fact, that's exactly what happens. Hunter, he takes the forefront of the hold instead, retreats, and just fires the AK while sprinting backwards. Hunter, he is able to recuperate the aim fast enough to blow the head off of Lowell. Another complete and utter shutdown. Vince, we are 13 rounds deep, and I think it's been about 6 minutes since Pistol went live.
It feels that way, doesn't it? And I'd imagine that Movistar's head is spinning. Like, how
No
do we get in this
pauses. No
game?
pauses yet.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, Scrawny. I would like to see a pause just to slow things down, just to have a think about this, because if this continues at the same pace, it's going to be 12-3 in a few moments' time. They're going to wonder where the hell this half went.
Maybe they're saving them all for the CT side comeback.
I like the optimism.
That's all. I feel like that's all I can really offer for the moment. Amanek, again, just on the sides of these smokes. These guys are tearing through them. This is very evidently two teams who are cut from different cloths. And I don't mean that with disrespect versus Riders. There's nobody on that team who would genuinely believe that on the majority of days they're the better team. You got to believe in yourself for an upset, but you have to recognize it would be a huge upset. And I actually misspoke back when North last beat Riders. I thought they got eliminated from the event, but because this is for RMR points, we need all the specific placings. So this win isn't going to bring G2 back into the playoffs. This win isn't going to be a lower bracket run back. No, Vince, we're just doing the 9th to 11th place matches here. So just looking for that little bit of extra out of their endeavor here at Summit 6. Oh, excuse my dogs. That'll be solved in a moment. 4v3, Vince. Lots of players on short side, smoke in front of them, but Jax with a headshot, Nexa with another, and it's just rinse and repeat. It is constant rinse and repeat. The same hits, the same results, round after round for G2.
And we haven't had a round where Movistar have got more than 2 kills since round 4. Since then, it's been 2 kills or 1, and some rounds it's just been flawless from G2. No plants in the last 8 rounds. Only 1 plant this entire half, which was defused by G2. And they got 1 when they actually won the second round additionally. So 2 plants, and we're moving into round 14. That is how one-sided, that is how brutal this half has been for the Riders. They've been utterly squashed at every single turn. Nexa tossing in grenades. Oh my god, that is grim. And it's going to be Mopaz dying, Eastor and Steel wrecked by the shrapnel. But it seems like they're still going to try and push into this, into almost certain death.
Oh my god, blind smoke spam. Oh, another one. And there's 3 CTs here, so it's not going to get any easier. Oh, I feel bad for them, Vince. Look at Amanek. He is literally just sweeping his mouse left and right while he shoots into a smoke grenade, and he gets 3 damn kills doing it.
When it rains, it pours, Scrawny, and right now, Movistar Riders are dealing with torrential rain. Like,
yeah, they're
flooded.
drenched.
They're not liking it right now. They're not loving life, are they? I don't know what we can do, like how you break this down analytically. It's just G2 have been on point, and Movistar can't even get close.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about that. Listen, we got 1 more gun round in us. Come on, Riders. 11 rounds, building up to this final breakthrough. That's the picture we could try to paint. But it's going to have to be an A split if they decide to get this one on the board. And they already have 2 CTs kind of pecking at their back line. Eastor's going to go ahead and unleash the utility. Jax able to hold them back in Valk for now. Hunter with the 1. Flashbangs just piling over top of it. And Hunter, he's found a little bit of safety here by dropping that bomb and keeping man advantage. Kenny S, will he see the player on Valk? Ooh, the smoke is fading. He's got the 1 towards short, at least pinned in. Can't react fast enough. And Hunter, now he looks for this frag. He could be shooting for 20 kills in 15 rounds if he gets both these last 2 frags.
Yeah, which would be absolutely obscene. He's not going to get both of them. Amanek helps him out, but he will end with a beautifully placed headshot. And G2 underline a very dominant performance, losing the first 3 rounds and then winning the next 12. And again, in that process, 1 defusal.
I don't want to laugh, but...
It's laugh or cry, isn't it? It's that kind of territory.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Vince, 13 kills for Alex. He's trying his hardest. He's found a little bit of... I feel like, if I had to kind of try to create an analogy here, it's like Riders have been locked out of their own house in the middle of a hurricane, while G2's just inside raiding the fridge, putting the feet up on the table, blasting the music. They're knocking at the door. They're sat there completely drenched, head to toe. No raincoat, no umbrella. Just stuck out there. Stuck in the misery of a 12-3 T-side on Inferno. Knowing that after this, after this potential comeback half, they've got to deal with G2 on Nuke. Oh, I don't mean to write everybody off, but without a single bomb plant, or without a single round that G2 had to pick up by way of 1vx, it's a very lopsided score, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I touched on this before with the last time these guys played on Inferno, and it should have been a little bit more one-sided, but it was 16-12, which was maybe a little bit flattering to Movistar. This time, honestly, it could have been a 15-0. If G2 won the pistol, I think it would have been.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose, Riders have dodged that, because it's one of those things where normally when we go back to look at previous results, we try to draw context from that. We try to create context for today's game. So yes, you're always expecting something similar, but the difference being is that the rise of G2 has been ever since the Road to Rio. That's when we started to get like the inklings of it. We started to get the tremors before what has been an earthquake of a rise from the Frenchmen. So this is a good example, okay? If we needed to learn anything from this series, this is a quantifiable example of how good G2 have gotten since the last time they played on Inferno. And it scares me.
It's a very good way of phrasing it, Scrawny, honestly. Like, it's easy to tear Movistar apart, right? But we also have to say G2 have just been almost flawless. There's been very few gaps in their defense on the CT side. Now, obviously, different ball game. They're going to be playing aggressively into Steel, but Kenny S and Hunter both come through with Glocks. Now, Alex has the chance to clean them up. Positioned perfectly, 2v2. He is the player in form right now for the Riders, so if you want it to have one play, it would be him. He's a bit labored with that spray down with the USP, but a big grenade knocks Amanek down to 14. And this should be the Riders taking both pistol rounds, and indeed it will. So there we go, the first little victory on their second half, and they'll be hoping it's one of many.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that every great comeback begins with a strong second pistol. And that's at least what we just got here from Riders. Good call on the stack at top mid, just completely funneling G2 into it. However, at the same time, I don't think G2 are using the brain juices all too much in a 12-3 second pistol, knowing what they did after they lost the first pistol and consequent conversions. So I think G2, they're going to be happy to just move through the motions and get us into the gun rounds. They don't even force too much with this one. Single P250 on Amanek, Deagle on Hunter. Other than those upgraded pistols, there is nothing, not a single flash, not one smoke to block off one portion of the chokehold. This is just a bit of the gimmick. And Kenny S, I like this. Hunter, he's keeping his head up in the underground. And Kenny's just like the little troll under the bridge, the goblin by his feet, ready to pick up the Deag when need be.
Freebie for Steel. Could be more good flash tossed in. That's beautiful from Easter, and the bomb goes with it. Was a very small investment for G2. But hey, we got to get excited where we can for the Riders. And I'm sure they'll be getting pumped right now. They can keep all of those MP9s in play, even though they know there's going to be AKs coming up. And it's one of those kind of sketchy situations, Scrawny, where normally you'd love to just keep them and be like, cool, if we lose, we'll just bounce back. But when you're eyeing up a potential 13-5 deficit, this has a lot more pressure than usual. This bonus round actually means a great deal for the Riders.
Yep, it does. It's either a great chance for them to cultivate some money and ensure that they can get onto the full-fledged buys with the ability to replenish after kills, because I guarantee you this, even if Riders start adding rounds to the boards, it's not going to be as convincing as those of G2. It's not going to be with 4 players alive 3 rounds in a row. It's not. So they need to make sure they keep some money. This is a big risk. They are at a stark disadvantage in terms of firepower, and they have a near non-existent margin of error. So a calculated risk that they have to understand has a lot of weight on it already. They are choosing to play off the back foot, but it's from that back foot that you can sometimes throw the slobber knockers. And maybe with the right amount of smoke play, with the right amount of timing, and with the right amount of patience, they could just get G2 to just step on this landmine in mid.
Landmine so far has been expertly pivoted past, however. Smoke put down on the incendiary. But G2 making moves through the apps, making it theirs, looking to destroy this defense, destroy this bonus round, and punish Movistar for this risk. Second smoke goes into middle. There's not much utility left. They have 2 smokes, but one of which is now going to be moving through from Lowell, who's up on the quad. Smoke's now dispatched on the banana. 2 players aggressively here. And Hunter shows his hand, lurking on balcony, takes down 2. Is going to keep Esports interested, leaving it in a 5-on-2 in total now that Amanek goes in with 1 and sprays the second player through the smoke. It's so rough again, but Esports can do little but watch as the round crumbles around him. And now G2 going to have that aforementioned 13-5. And there's not much that Movistar can do. They're not even going to save the last gun. And you need to get kills in situations like that, Scrawny, because you're seeing now Mopos $3,900, 4.1k on Esports. If they go for these M4s, they're going to be lacking incendiaries and all kinds of grenades. This is so horrible.
What scares me as well is that that last round is still hinged on a very similar play to what we saw the round previous when G2 only had the Deagle and P250. It's just a difference in order of operations. When they had just the pistols, many players died top mid, and then we had that late lurk from Hunter out balcony. He dinked a guy with the P250, but as the last player left, he just died. This time, they don't lose those early kills in middle, and Hunter still finds that same bit of timing out balcony, completely compromising what was those 2 CTs pushed up on porch. That's how the A site just unraveled. He gets those 2 kills, and then the arch guy doubles back. Boom, there's the 3rd. Hunter makes it look easy, but he had suspected and sniffed out that same setup, that same situation, just 1 round previously when he didn't have the tools to work. You give the man his toolbox, and he just ripped heads off like some kind of mass murderer. Now they go for the 4-man stack. It's a little bit better at the A site, but again, G2 not forcing the issue here at the cusp of brackets. Not yet, that is. And even if they do try it, maybe Esports can keep them at bay.
It's a great shot. No damage done in retaliation for all of the pitfalls that we were building up. To get the first kill clean is huge. And the CT is going to be breathing a sigh of relief, but they can't afford to take their foot off the gas. They've got to be pressing forward. 40 seconds to play with G2 now throwing smokes in. And they have Nexa pushing behind it. Flashes, meanwhile, coming out on middle. They're pushing into the 3-player stack on the A side. And Hunter with Amanek now pushing round the side of Arches. Steel looking to hold the line with his M4. Tapping the heads off of the oncoming scourge of terrorists. He's doing such a good job of stalling them and suppressing them and killing them in total. And now Kenny S and Nexa going to try and rip together to do something. But keep in mind that Nexa was the player that went across the B. He wanted the flank. He wanted the long con. And now that everyone, the foundation of that flank have died, he's basically useless. And he can do little but save his AK. Excellent retort from Movistar.
Yep, excellent retort. And I want to just go right back to the dialogue I tried to create in terms of that balcony opening from Hunter. Now, we just saw Riders immediately after him getting that 3K, after him sussing it out in the gun round specifically, they retracted that front line. Instead of keeping themselves exposed by stacking up on top of porch, they played back in the bomb site and just left that op on arch to try and throw a bit of a wrench in the works. You know, there was no heavy commitment, there was no compromised flank like with an open balcony play. They just played far more reserved, far more concentrated on the actual bomb site, allowing G2 to get closer, taking down their numbers as they did so, and then ultimately just being that rock, that anchor on the site itself to prevent any kind of an entry. I want to contrast that to what they've gone back to here in the 20th round. Again, 2 CTs on porch. Look how open that balcony room is, Vince. They have already fallen for this.
Esports, though, is going to hold the line with his AWP. Amanek out with the MAC-10, looking for seconds, but Easter gets 1 before he's traded, and Kenny S goes in for more alongside Hunter. And you absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Scrawny. And what a read by G2, by the way. It's one thing to have those weaknesses, as we often say at the start of rounds. It's an entirely different one for the opposing team with none of the information that we have at hand to make that read, to have the conviction and the clarity and the confidence to push through with that and reap the rewards. So G2 so well played, totally nullifying and suppressing Movistar. And again, we're in one of those situations that we saw yesterday where the teams are just trading back and forth at the start of the half. And this is playing hell. It's havoc for Movistar. And they can't afford this. They're going to be 14-6 behind into likely a 4-spy behind these 2 saved guns. And that could be their last line of defense.
Yep, absolutely. And this is it. G2 just feeling out that A site, having the solution quickly. Yeah, Hunter, he's found it himself. makes sure to make that clear, I'm certain. And Nexa decides to let him go right back at it. So here we go. Second pause of the game from Riders. 21 rounds deep when they're facing an 8-round deficit and an opponent who is better equipped, only 2 rounds away from victory. The one thing I need to see from Riders to give them praise off of the pause, to show that even despite that very rough first half, we could praise what is still a solid defense. Yeah. And in order for me to do that, Vince, I need to see that fallback on the A site. I got to see guys either inside the apartments themselves so that we don't see G2 convince themselves that they can go for that execute. And more importantly, just players in pit or something back. This short A push is compromised. It's been compromised twice, and they cannot allow that to happen again, because then they would fall victim to the same mistake 3 times in what is already just a 6-round half. So let's see what the variation is here. Let's see if G2 even feel like they have to exploit that. Maybe they just want to switch things up and head B. You know, their options are open, but at the start of this round, it's Steel immediately in apps. And look, Lowell, he's going to try to pinch it maybe. So some variation here, something to work with that doesn't seem to be as big of an issue compared to what G2 have found recently. But this is more, this is a much more patient round. So let's sit back and relax.
Yeah, that's the concerning aspect for Movistar, is because G2, even in some of these rounds, has still put over the likes of Nexa flanking and lurking on B. They've still had some presence and some pressure on B. You can't fully bite down on the idea that G2 will just rinse and repeat consistently through apps. So you have to at least respect the possibility that we're going to see middle control into a wraparound, or perhaps just a straight up B hit. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of faith being put on Easter. He has a FAMAS. It's one of their weakest weapons. They have 3 FAMASs, AK and M4, and he's playing this alone because he has one of those smokes. So he can try and stall off. The second he spots somebody down banana, he's going to be tossing in the incendiary, tossing in the smoke, and falling back. Alex elsewhere, though, has gone in for the wraparound play of Jax, and now the cavalry charges towards the site. Mopoz up on the box. It's a bit of an off angle. Can maybe get 1 kill or not. He does a lot of damage in the process, softening up G2 for this retake, which Movistar are going to be putting in right now.
Esports smoke fades right in front, and the sniper just dropped off of the box. Sure, Kenny, he gets back in with a quick trade frag, but he's under pressure. Kenny S gets another off of the coffins. Now it is just Lowell. FAMAS versus 2, both of which are tagged, and they almost line up, but Kenny S has had enough. 4 kills for him on that B bomb site. Vince, they changed gear. They changed direction. They changed target. They hit that B site despite the CTs having smokes right in front. G2, they just barrel in. They parade their way onto the B bomb site, and it comes off of some level of individual heroics. Hunter, who has been the hands-down top fragger, and may I add, only 6 deaths in 21 rounds of play. He just ripped the face off the man on top of Orange, and then it was Kenny S who came back in with the big 4K. So everything barring the entry frag, Kenny S has his name on it. We get a quick exchange of kills over towards the top of Banana, but this is all they have to work with. A potential final round for Riders, and in this 4v4, 3 Deegs and an MP9.
Again, it's down to one player holding off against all the oncoming Ts as they move and scramble up Banana. It will be Mopoz, and he's used his smoke. So he has nothing left. He needs a rotation. He needs a wraparound. And finally, Eastor is going to be the man to do it. Will he get there in time, though? Because this is certainly going to be down to the wire. Now the incendiaries, the smokes, going to be tossed towards the back of the site. They have Mopoz just hiding in dark. I like that position. They're not going to be able to deal with him early, and now he can peek out behind that smoke and puts a bullet in the back of Jax's head. Meanwhile, though, players now pushing towards bottom of Banana, but that last beacon has dropped, leaving it at a 2-on-3 for all the chips. Steel and Lowell going to try and come together and make a masterful play happen, but they've only got a MAC-10, an MP9, and a couple of smokes to play with. They don't have any kits, and to make matters worse, Steel's walked out into the open. He's gone down. Next is going to be traded out, but Amanek finishes it off and seals the deal. 16-6, every bit as one-sided as the scoreline would suggest.
Absolutely audacious plays coming out of G2 here, man. 16-6 scoreline. We're talking 119 ADR on Hunter, a 3.85 0.5 kill death ratio at the end of Inferno here. And I mean, while Hunter had his name on every single round, it seemed, it was really Kenny S who I think hammered that final nail in the coffin with the 4K on that B bomb site. You know, when we start seeing G2 attack the back line of the A site, there was no chance that Movistar were going to defend it. When they're running through smoke grenades, desperately trying for a B plant with 20 seconds left, Vince, that's something that could have worked for Riders, but Kenny S, that big individual level shines through. He also has a ridiculous few amount of deaths, 19 and 9, right behind Hunter at 27 and 7. So to say this was one-sided before it started was absolutely fair. Doesn't take anything more than looking at the HLTV rankings, recent results, and just skill ceilings of individuals here. To say it's one-sided after watching the first map, well, I've got the most damning piece of evidence I ever need. 6 rounds, 3 of which at the start of the first half, 3 of which in the first 4 of the second half. If they didn't win pistols, this could have been the 16-0.
That's the terrifying part, right, Scrawny? It's like they got 6 rounds. Okay, all of them by and large came from pistols.
Yeah.
If you wipe that away, this could have even fell to like a 16-1, 16-2. And keep in mind, the last time these two teams played each other, which wasn't that long ago, it was a 16-12. So sure, G2 won, but they've even extended over that lead. They've even been that much more powerful and prolific. And now, as you said, we move on to Nuke. It's not going to get any easier for the Riders.
No, not at all. Not at all. Definitely not. So what will happen, of course, we'll only find out when time tells. So make sure you guys stay tuned here to the B stream of the CS Summit 6. The playoffs deep, baby. And this obviously the 9th to 11th place decider games going down. That's a difference of 250 RMR points and the difference between $3,000 and $1,600 to be split between these 5 players. Ladies and gents, we'll see you on Nuke in just a little bit.